And now you've gotten to a point where you also start questioning God. Ideas need funding.
For sure.
Ideas need funding.
For sure. No.
Let someone live according to their gifts. I see it with my own mother as well. That starts with what you have, right? I started out just dressing up, right, at home, trying out different outfits. Man, my room was always a mess. Always, if you found me late in the evenings, my bed is full with clothes. Of giving up, because you're not operating from a place of passion anymore. Now you need to elevate.
For sure.
And now you've gotten to a point where you also start questioning God.
For sure.
God, is this really what you brought me on earth to become?
Yeah.
And at some point you do need funding. It's just like music.
Yeah.
You need to invest.
For sure.
It's the absolute truth. Ideas need funding.
For sure.
Ideas need funding.
For sure. No, I hear what you're saying. So, one of the things that I've seen a lot, and you do it very, very well, is being an influencer and actually Instagram. Being able to do photo shoots and showcase what you can style. And as people can see already, you're a very, very stylish person. If they go to Instagram, they will actually see a lot of that, which I fall more over it all the time. How did you find your niche, and how did you actually develop your content creating mentality?
Okay. So as we said, that starts with what you have, right? I started out just dressing up, right, at home, trying out different outfits. Man, my room was always a mess. Always, if you found me late in the evenings, my bed is full with clothes. Different types of clothes, trying different things. Then I started getting the hang of the camera, maybe a photographer was starting out, wants to shoot me. Started getting that connection going. Started shooting with a few guys. And that's where you start, really. But to be a content creator, now that's a really different level, because you need to be able to find your niche, right? Rodney and I are more menswear based. So we found our niche, right? And it really came to us. We were really just focused on running menswear events. But as time went on, now we started running photo shoots. And there was a point where we were forced to elevate.
Yeah.
We were really forced to elevate. It was tough to elevate, because we were sitting together and we're like, where to from here?
Yeah.
Is this really our ceiling? So we started out with Flosherm. And that's when, the moment we got the Flosherm deal, is when we knew this is our niche. And we knew what other brand to approach next. So it was really a stepping stone. And when we got the suit brand as well from Legendary Afro, it then really put us on that pedestal, as to say, we are now officially content creators, because now we have deadlines to meet. It's no longer just about pictures. It's not about events anymore. It's really about deadlines. And I need to shoot content, so that brand is happy and that brand is happy. So the niche really found us.
Wow.
Just doing what we love.
Okay. So you said something very, very interesting to me. You started by just loving clothes, taking pictures, and actually these things came to me. So did you guys approach brands, or there certain brands that actually approached you guys in terms of like, yo, we see what you're doing and we would like to be part of that?
All right.
Yeah.
When you're starting out, you're going to get rejected a lot. So we really went out to brands. Man, I don't know how many rejections we faced within a year.
Yeah.
Even till today. We still go out to brands. No matter how good our content is, we still go out to brands. It's part of the process, right? The day when we're really big, that's when brands will officially come to us and say, look, I want you to create content for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And people really look at us and go, but it looks easy. It is not. It is absolutely not. We face rejection so many times that I stopped sending out proposals.
Wow.
It's hurtful because within a month I can go for up to 20 rejections within that month, and a proposal is about 8 pages long. So I'm sitting for 20 proposals for 8 pages. You can understand how much work I'm putting in, and I'm targeting different brands, just learning what they do and what do they need and where do they lack, you know. So the best way is to approach brands. If you want to really be, if you're serious about what you're doing, approach brands. Don't be ashamed.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nah, I like that. And then one thing that I had again that you alluded to was the fact that when you were starting, you will find like an upcoming photographer,
Yes.
probably somebody who wants to even showcase what they can do.
Yes.
From the get-go, were you guys actually paying these photographers, or it was an exchange of like, yo, I need to show what I can do and you need to show what you can do, let's collaborate?
When you're starting out and you also find a photographer is starting out, it's really an exchange, right? But that exchange needs to be beneficial for the both of you, right? Because if you're starting out and a deal comes, you need to be able to remember that you also have a photographer with you that you've been working with that needs to also be included within that deal. So it is an exchange, but it's an exchange with a bigger picture. Yes.
The reason why I'm asking this question, I feel like our generation are not willing to serve. I call it serving.
Yes.
When you're starting out, sometimes you need to show people what you can do. And money might not be the first thing that we have to talk about. If I put you in my world as a mixing engineer, if an upcoming artist comes to me and say, yo, I have a song, I want it to be mixed. Of course, I do want to get paid, but at a certain point, I do understand that sometimes you might not have the money to pay.
Yes.
But for me, I need to show people what I can do for me to get to the clients that can pay, or for you to grow to a point where you can start paying. So you talked about you were forced to actually elevate, which means the quality of your pictures had to go to a certain level.
Yes.
Quality of your posts had to go to a certain level. Was that the level where you started being like, okay, cool, we need to have a certain budget for us to be able to elevate?
Yes, it actually got there. It was quite uncomfortable, really. It wasn't easy to accept as well. You look at it now and you go, but as I'm looking back now, I'm saying we actually made a good decision because it's opened a few doors for us.
For sure.
It gets to a point where your certain level where you're on becomes sort of a cage.
Yeah.
You feel boxed in. You don't feel as though you're moving, and you need to elevate. So even with myself, before Rodney or anyone, I'm a person who's constantly looking to improve. Any project I create, I constantly keep in my head. I can tell you the project I created when I was 16, and I can tell you how I've improved from that, and I'm constantly looking to improve. So it really got to a level where we had to now pop out money to get our production to a certain level.
So basically just investing, knowing that you're going to get something in return.
Yes.
Right. You spoke about Flosherm, right?
Yes.
Personally, here's the thing that what I saw you guys do for Flosherm was you took this brand that I grew up with my mom talking about Flosherm. My mom loves fashion. My mom has like closets and closets of clothes, right? And she used to dress all of us in the family. My dad, I once told Rodney that if he comes to my place, my dad's clothes, he will go crazy. From shoes to everything. So when I saw you guys starting to work with Flosherm, it was like a 360 moment. Like, yo, this is a brand that I grew up with my mom talking about, and it's a very, very quality brand. And what I just wanted to find out, what was the thought process behind taking a brand that I would say a lot of like young guys kind of like disregarded, but you guys you brought it back and you keep on doing that. What was the thought process on that? How did you guys come up with the way you actually put it out there for a young person to actually look at it and be like, whoa, that looks amazing? You check what I mean? Instead of just having a stigma of like, this is an old brand. What was the thought process in coming up with those projects?
The thought process is that, number one, Rodney and I are not within the same age group in terms of our looks. Rodney looks a lot older and is quite married now. So we looked at it and we said, what can we really bring to the table that they don't have?
For sure.
It was a risk. It was a gamble. You look at it now, and the risk and gamble was really worth it because we brought a different feel to the brand.
For sure.
We looked at what they have and we offered them a different service.
Wow.
We offered them youth, but we also, because even if you look at their work prior to us jumping onto the brand, they had good quality work.
For sure.
We just had to get there and elevate it, which is what they were looking for. They wanted elevation, but they wanted elevation which is quite inclusive towards all target markets, because as a brand, you constantly want to target everyone.
Sure.
And I think it was a good move from them to actually acquire us.
For sure.
On their team.
Definitely. Definitely. Because to be honest with you, the change that I saw from Flosherm and the way they were approaching it, they started realizing that the youth can actually benefit from having this brand.
Yes.
Right. So still on the Flosherm deal. So I am not sure how the deal came about, or were you guys premeditated in terms of like, we need to kind of like catch Flosherm, or was it something like you said that came to you guys?
Oh man, I think Rodney always calls me the brains.
I understand now.
Yeah,
I get it.
For me, I think it was my idea, if I remember well.
Yeah.
We were sitting one day, and I was like, man, what do you think about Flosherm? Because he approached me with Crockett and Jones. And I told him about Flosherm.
Wow.
And I'm like, I prefer Flosherm. I'm like, it has a rich history within South Africa.
For sure.
South African fashion, South African menswear. If you go to the hood, a look scene right now, you probably find Umadali Faki Flosherm. And I was like, this is what we mostly resonate with more than Crockett and Jones or any other shoe brand.
Yeah.
I really fell for Flosherm because of its rich history within our country.
Yeah.
And it was really a no-brainer to go for Flosherm. And we went to Flosherm and said, this is what we can do. And this is how good we are. But remember at that point, I said remember, man. Speaking as though we were there, but
don't worry, I was there.
Yeah. Look at it now, in terms of what we've achieved with Flosherm.
Yeah.
When they gave us the opportunity, our content was really, it was really average. We hadn't found our type of style that we're going to create content around.
Sure.
Even back then, even when we took the deal, it was a risk because we hadn't even established ourselves yet, or in terms of how we're going to work, who we're going to work with.
For sure.
Even our first Flosherm shoot was really just rushed. We just decided, we're shooting.
Yeah,
and then when we got to the location, it was, I think, 5:30 in the evening, and they were closing at the time. So we actually had to go a different location, and we had to submit those photographs. So I wasn't entirely too happy with the whole project.
Yeah.
We then went and reshot it again. I'm just that kind of guy.
Yeah.
If I don't do something in a certain way, I'm going to redo it again and again and again until I get it right. So that's how it really came about. And honestly, the Flosherm experience has been really a good experience for us. A very good experience because we've learned a lot.
For sure. Now, I like, you like learning.
Yes.
You like education. It's important for you to actually learn. And what you said with the Flosherm, like you guys just diving into it, taking the risk. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people don't take a lot of risks.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people sit and analyze and get so much information about something without actually just diving in and actually trying to do it and improve from that. You know, so I'm a very Rodney calls me a DIY.
Yes, do it yourself.
Because I like learning too. You know, and my way of learning is not sitting down and reading about it. It's okay, I want to do videos, let me immerse myself in that. I'm gonna make mistakes, but those mistakes are there for me to learn.
Yes.
You know, and I feel like if a lot of people do that, they will actually surprise themselves. Like you were saying, you're sitting here and looking back and be like, whoa, thinking about it, you know what I mean? Where we're at, if we were actually looking at it like, oh, we need to be at that stand, we were probably not going to do it that way.
Yes.
But you've learned from it, and it actually brought a brand like Flosherm. You know, Flosherm is a big brand. Yes. What are some of the other brands that you guys have worked with, and some of the kind of like designers? I think you mentioned Afro.
Yes, Legendary Afro as well.
Legendary Afro. You know, what are some of the brands that you work with, and some of the brands that you will actually like to work with?
Rodney was working with YSL last year.
Yeah.
Fragrances. It was really his personal project.
Oh, for sure.
So it was kind of really fun for me to support him.
Nice.
Because it was the first time when any of us actually had a solo project, because we constantly worked together. Mm-hmm. So it was weird being on the sidelines. I'm looking at it going, man, this is new. But I loved every moment of it because he's winning, you know? And if he wins, I win as well. So, working with YSL was quite... We worked with YSL, with Zeus, Zeus Media Productions. So when the deal came about, Rodney was quite excited as well. As I was, because I was like, hey man, the door's finally opened. Go for it. Then I ran a Ted Lapidus campaign. It's quite recent. I think I shot it in March. That was my personal project.
Yes.
He was watching from the sidelines. Yes. And the day that I was shooting it, he was there.
Nice.
So he has a few shots from the day. And it was quite, can I say, uplifting to really just be in the space when we're constantly watching each other win.
Nice.
It was quite beautiful, man. And in the future, what would I want to work with? I say Bentley.
Nice.
Reason for Bentley is because Bentley is quite accepting of concentrators. Bentley, BMW.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of BMW. I'm not really a huge car fanatic, no. I was just, there's something about a BMW that really feels like home. And internationally, it would be Tom Ford. Tom Ford, because I actually like the way he works as an individual.
Yeah.
He pays attention to detail as well. So these are the few brands that I'd actually like to work with, and I think I'd really enjoy working with them.
Yeah. Cool. So you are maxing out Instagram.
Yes.
Would I be fair to say that Instagram is kind of like where if somebody wants to see what you can do, they will probably go to?
Yes, I think it is the best place to see me from the beginning, before what you see now.
Why Instagram specifically?
Because Instagram allows you to post videos, post content, images that really outlives the test of time. I can do something 2017 and then probably in 2030 I will still find it on Instagram. I don't need to go far, you know? And I also thought of a website, but Instagram is the most convenient.
For sure.
Because everyone is on the application, you know?
Yeah.
But if you look at WhatsApp, man, you post a status within 24 hours, it's gone.
Yeah.
And is it convenient? No, it's not. Facebook, it really had its era.
Yeah.
But Instagram and I need to jump on TikTok as well.
Yeah. Would you say, because I wouldn't say I'm new to Instagram, but I'm new to being a content creator, not a consumer on Instagram.
Yes.
And I see a lot of like fashion related things on Instagram. Would you say the community when it comes to fashion on Instagram has built a trust of Instagram that the other platforms can do it, but still kind of like links to Instagram?
Yes, it's the fashion industry on Instagram and the fashion people, fashion content creators, we've really built a certain trust with Instagram because that's where you will find most inspiration from. If there's a show and you couldn't manage to attend, you know you find the images on Instagram. You know, that's like the first social media platform they're gonna update the show on. And it's quite an important social media medium for content creators, fashion lovers, stylists, designers as well. It's the best platform to get your work out there.
Nice. So this is another thing that I spoke to Rodney about. Like I said, I love learning. I love understanding things. So when I look at your Instagram, there's a certain level of teaching, of making people understand menswear, you guys, the way you communicate and stuff like that. Is there something that you're looking at in terms of like just imparting information for people understanding fashion?
I really love, as much as I love learning, I love teaching too.
For sure.
I don't love keeping stuff to myself.
Nice, I love that.
If I learn something star related, I probably text someone I know can benefit.
Yes.
Before Rodney got married, we'd have these long midnight conversations about style.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's teaching me about music one day, you know?
Sure.
Because I'm more the style guy, he's more the music guy, and we really merge it together.
Yeah.
And I love that people can go on our Instagram pages and actually learn.
Nice.
You can read, you can watch, you can see images, which really teaches you so much, because visual learning is also quite an important part. Because as much as I can write about it, visual learning actually shows you how to actually apply these lessons into practice.
For sure. And yeah, cool. I love that. I love that. And I say that to throw something to you, you know what I mean? You might not be interested in it, you might be interested in it. I've been telling Rodney about this. I feel like you guys need to get to a point where you can find a place where those conversations that you two were having, we would like to be a fly in the wall.
All right.
And actually learn from that. You know, you should consider having a place where we can go to and actually learn, to be like, oh, that's minimalist, that's the style. Oh, okay, you know, I can put this together and put this together. You know, I remember Rodney used to be very passionate like you are. You know, I'll show him a picture and he'll tell me, oh, this is this and this and this. This is how you put it so together. And, you know, look at that's double-breasted. That's all of those, you know, that language. Because I feel like there's a lot of education there that most of us who are just people who love clothes, sometimes we misinterpret, we don't understand the information. And for today, just sitting with you, I've learned a lot. And coming to the next point, how important is it for us to find local stylists and designers and supporting that for the fashion industry to kind of like grow in South Africa? I'm not in it. I don't know how big that is in South Africa. You might know more than me. Maybe you can teach me that you know there is already people like that. And how do we actually find these guys?
As I said, Instagram is also an important part in terms of finding people. Because you can always click on the link in their bios, and some of us have linked trees which show you what we've done, what we haven't done, things we've achieved, people we've styled. Also, outsourcing stylists and fashion designers. Outsourcing a fashion designer is quite easy, because you can find one in your local community too. And the more you invest within our own people, is the more our currency can spread within the black community. You know, we make our own money and we circulate it within our people. It definitely uplifts black communities as a whole.
For sure.
So outsourcing a stylist as well it's not as easy as a fashion designer, but once you find one within your local community, it is also easy to constantly work with them you know, because you give them business. It also makes it easier, quite easier for them to actually now explain their work, also for them to get more recognition within your circle as well.
Yeah. Now we've been having this conversation, and I mean, I'm learning a lot. My mind is getting blown, and we can talk for a long time, but we have to respect people's time out
Definitely.
there. You check what I mean? So if we need to have another conversation now, definitely we're gonna have a second one. And probably on that one you're gonna be showing people exactly like what we've been talking about, what I mean, show and tell. As just closing remarks, right? There's a lot of like you said, avenues. Instagram is one of those things that people can actually go and look at things that you guys are doing and get in touch with you guys. So you spoke about you styling for music videos.
Yes.
Is that the main thing that you look at, or any person can just come to you who just wants to look good and get advice? Would you, let's say, for example, what I'm trying to say is, for example, me, if I want to change my look gradually and be able to kind of like have a wardrobe that speaks to me, is that something that you offer those services?
I do offer those services. My services are for everyone. No matter where you are in the world, no matter what you do, my services are for you. You can easily just call me or send me a DM, an email. My email is also linked to my Instagram account.
For sure.
If you find my Facebook handle, you can also text me there. The reason why it is inclusive is because I believe everyone deserves a chance to look good.
For sure.
No matter what you do, where you are in the world, what occupation you have, your financial background, everyone deserves a chance to look good.
So are you only concentrating on menswear, or do you actually sometimes dabble around? Because I know a lot of females are going to be watching this and be like, I want him to style me. You know what I mean?
Surprisingly,
Yeah.
I love styling females.
Nice.
More than men sometimes.
Yeah, because I think females.
Females are more free.
Okay.
They always say, hey man, just do what you do.
Nice.
And I can take the lessons I've learned from men's and actually apply them to women in terms of color combinations, simple outfits, elegance,
For sure.
really owning the room, the confidence in just a simple garment. So women can definitely text me as well. Let's have a conversation. Let's see how can we best work, I really love styling women. It's a good challenge for me. I don't shy away from challenges. I love being out of my comfort zone. I love being exposed to a world that previously I wouldn't have paid attention to.
Okay. I love that. So, we touched on what you do. We touched on different styles. Of course, we didn't really go into detail on different styles because of time. And then again, we're gonna create. And I know this. A lot of people are probably gonna ask for it. Because a lot of people like looking good.
Yes,
and sometimes we don't even know where to start, or talked about taking care of our clothes and all of that. So, as closing remarks, what advice would you give somebody who wants to get into the fashion industry? And what would you say to a parent who their kid is saying, I want to get into the fashion industry? Me saying that is because if I go home right now where I'm from in a village and a kid is telling their parent, I want to be a fashion designer, they wouldn't even understand what that is, or being a stylist, or being an influencer.
True.
They wouldn't understand. So what would you say to a parent and what would you say to the kid?
What I would say to the parent, right, is what my mother showed me. My mother plays an important role in being who I am today.
Sure.
She's gave me the best lessons of being a parent in the future. One thing she told me was, let someone live according to their gifts. I see it with my own mother as well. She's really passionate about health. We can be watching a TV show that's health related and she'll have this big smile on her face. Man, I love seeing my mother smiling, man.
That's the best thing.
That's the best thing in the world. Because we'll be sitting there and she'll be going, oh, that is maybe we're speaking of hormonal imbalances, but she will speak of it in a term and I'll be like, but I don't hear you. But I love being in that setting, just seeing her being passionate about what she does. And it comes to no surprise that she's let me be who I am.
For sure.
I am actually aligned with my calling. And I think the best advice I'd give to a parent is, if you don't want to lose your child, let them do what they love. And trust God to protect them and constantly guide them in their journey, because it is not easy. Any occupation you choose in this life is not going to be easy.
Wow.
And often as parents, we tend to look at being a lawyer or being an accountant or being a doctor as a safety net. But how many educated doctors, engineers, lawyers do we have that are actually unemployed?
Yeah.
And they have to go and look at different career fields.
And we can't all be lawyers.
Yes, we can all be lawyers.
Yeah.
And that's another lesson my mother taught me. There has to be a car guard.
For sure.
There has to be someone that washes cars.
For sure.
There really has to be one of everything.
For sure.
And she told me, this is your calling. I want you to live by it. And she's the most patient person ever. And that's taught me parents need to be patient with their kids. You want your kids to constantly gravitate towards you. You need to be patient and constantly be supportive of their dreams. And an advice I'd give to a kid who wants to come into the fashion industry: follow your heart. That's the best advice I can give you. Because follow your heart and it will guide you somewhere. I followed my heart.
Yeah.
I loved fashion, but I followed my heart of what I really love.
Yeah.
And it brought me to where I am today. So, and to the kids, I would say, be patient. It doesn't happen overnight.
Oh, God.
Where you want to be will never happen overnight. You may have dreams, and on certain days you will question God.
For sure.
We're human beings. I do that sometimes.
For sure.
And I love constantly being reminded about Bible scriptures that actually realign me to say, look, this is the path you chose. This is the path that is less traveled. And you need to be brave enough to say, God, I trust you with my gifts. And to that young kid who wants to join the fashion industry, man, it's the road less traveled.
For sure.
And you need to be brave, trust in God, and just follow your heart.
Nah, man. You are one of the most grounded person I've ever spoken to.
Thank you so much.
And your knowledge is evident.
Yes.
From the confidence what you speak about and the
Yes.
passion of what you love, man. Appreciate you, taking
Thank
this
you so much.
time to impart some of your knowledge with me. The indie state, like I said, is basically that independent states of whatever. You know what I mean? Whether you making cars, whether you creating products, whether you into makeup, whatever it is. You check what I mean? I just want to create a network of people who are doing great things. And I believe and I know you're doing great things.
Thank you so much.
And God is going to keep on blessing you, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just to the people out there who are watching, where can they, link up with you, and certain things that you're working on, if you want to impart that with the people?
I'm currently working on my book. I'm a writer as well.
What? We're still going to do another interview about that.
I know you didn't know that, but we can definitely touch on a full interview about the writer side of me.
Wow.
For now, I'm left with the last 2 chapters of my book. It's my first book, so it's really been challenging to write. But I've really enjoyed the experience, because being a self-taught upcoming author is not easy. You make so many mistakes. It's just like music. As you said, you love learning within the process. And I am learning so much from making all these mistakes. I've got the writing skills, but there's so much more to the process than just writing skills that I need to have. So you can find some of my work in terms of me as a writer at Yours Truly Tales on Instagram. On Facebook is Yours Truly Tales as well. If you're looking for me for my personal Instagram, Styledbyshakes. On Facebook, Sean Shakes. I think those are social medias you can actually find me on, social media platforms. And if you want to strike a good conversation or want to be styled or want to see some of my or some of the work that I've written or want to approach me for content for a fashion brand, look, feel free. I'm immediately available.
For sure. Nah, definitely there's gonna be people who are contacting you. My mind is blown. You know, when you said you're an author, it's something that from a long time ago it has been in the back of my mind, you know, and once in a while on my phone I'll go to notes and write something, but I'm never like immerse myself. So to meet somebody who's actually doing that gives me this, you know what I mean? So the universe sometimes creates things for you to meet certain people.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to reading your book, you know what I mean? And keep on doing the great things you're doing in the fashion industry. You know what I mean? Being a stylist and inspiring people like me, you know what I mean? To look good, to be confident. And, you know, I feel like what you guys are doing is more than just fashion.
Yes.
Like you said, it's a lifestyle, you know, teaching men how to actually, you know, and be dressed well, to be addressed very well. You check what I mean?
Yes, be well dressed.
You know what I mean? So thank you very much again for your time.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Thank you for everything that you've imparted. This is going to be one of those, you know, long interviews. We're probably going to chop it in two. But
Definitely.
I know people are going to be watching this and rewinding and be like, yo, what did he say there? You know what I mean? That's very, very interesting. Again, I appreciate you for coming through.
It's a pleasure.
Style by Shakes. We're going to leave everything on the description below. Please make sure that you go engage with all of his content. If you are a brand, if you want to just learn about brands, if you want to read his book, just go in there. Trust me, if you go and follow him on Instagram, from the first post, you're just going to be inspired. You're just going to be inspired. It's like watching a Vogue magazine. You know what I mean? It's like being at a fashion show, you know, sitting front seat and actually getting to see what these guys are doing. Again, Style by Shakes, thank you very much, man.
Thank you so much, Chuck.
Have a wonderful, you know, day and actually, you know, prosperous career.
Thank you so much.
I have no doubt this is going to be one of the biggest stylists we have in SA.
Amen. Thank you
What I
so
mean?
much.
I'm going to be coming to be styled too. Cool.
Definitely.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
That's it. We nice.